Hi guys, last instalment then of our Millionaire shortbread. Okay, so if I bring over what I've got, you can see the layers starting to develop. So we've got a nice thick layer of your shortbread, which you baked. You've got your nice thick layer of your fudgy caramel. So I've left it to go to room temperature and I put it in the fridge for a little while. So it should be nice and rock hard like that. So it's nice and set, it's not going anywhere. The next part of this then is our chocolate. So I'm going to show you about the bain-marie. We've done bain-maries before at school. Okay, so you want a smallish pan with some water at the bottom. Okay, water at the bottom. You want a glass dish that's going to sit on top. You don't want it to go deep into it because you don't want the water touching the bottom of your glass bowl because you're going to burn your chocolate. So make sure there's a distance between the water and where the glass bowl is, please. Okay, so the steam rises out, okay, and helps to bring that heat encapsulated around it and then melts down the chocolate and the butter. So what I've got in here is I've got 300 grams of chocolate. I've gone for milk chocolate. You could go with dark chocolate, you could go with white chocolate. You could have two bain-maries going at the same time if you wanted to do that feathering effect with the white chocolate as well. I'll leave it up to you. And I've also got 50 grams of butter in there, which will help the set, okay? So, and to make it creamy. So I'm going to put my hob on now, okay? Now I've just gone for cold water. I want to bring the heat up gradually. I don't want boiling water in there. I put it on a medium heat. Remember your health and safety advice that we talked about in video number 2 about using the hob. Remember you have got a naked flame, so make sure there's nothing flammable around it for me, please. Okay, also make sure that there's nothing that's going to be touching and interfering the hob. Again, if you're using live flame like me on gas, then that's really important. But also don't forget if you're using electric or induction hob or whatever, okay, they are still flammable risks, so just be careful. So I've got my wooden spoon ready to go to do my mixing, okay, but I'm just going to leave it a couple of minutes to bring that water up to temperature, okay. It's not going to take very long, and then we're going to get this melt on and try and combine this all together. Now once it's melted down, okay, you'll be able to pour it straight on top of the caramel layer as long as it's set like mine, okay? If it's not set, you won't be able to do this properly, so make sure it's set, please, before you go with the chocolate on the top. That's looking lovely, that is. I'm really impressed with that. Right, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir just to get started. Now I've broken up my chocolate into smaller pieces, and you can see in the bowl as well, I've broken up my bits of butter. Okay, another health and safety advice, okay, is not only that we've got the flame risk, okay, the fire risk of the gas, we've also got burn risks from the melted chocolate and butter, but also from the steam. Now steam is a really bad burn, okay, not as bad as your caramel, but it would be really, really bad, okay, boiling water burn. So be careful of that for me, please. When the steam starts, I know when we've done this at school, it comes up and out and probably into the extractor. At school we don't have extractors, do we? But here I've got an extractor above, okay, to go into there. So use your extractor if you've got one to take the steam out in the kitchen. And then just don't stir it all the time, just give it a bit of a poke every now and again, okay, just give it a little bit of a movement around, just so that it doesn't stick to the bottom, okay, but effectively you're just waiting for that chocolate to melt now, alright, so that's really it, okay, so I'm just waiting on that now to melt, and bring that water up to temperature. Right then, so we've gone through the health and safety advice, we've gone through quite a lot of that, so to reiterate the quantities for you, 300 grams of milk or dark chocolate, 50 grams of butter, and as you can see on Mrs. Gurley's screen for this chocolate part for the PowerPoint, you know, if you wanted to have a simultaneous one going on your hob with white chocolate in, you'd only need a smaller quantity, so we're talking probably 50 to 100 grams of white chocolate, just to do the feathering effect, okay? Oh, look at this, it's starting to melt down now, this is good, okay? Right, so once it starts, okay, just give it a stir every so often, just so that it's moving around. You don't want to burn the chocolate, and you want to be making sure that the butter and the chocolate combines together really evenly. The butter will help to give it a kind of a glossy effect as well. Melting chocolate is an art form of its own. When they make like chocolates at chocolatiers, melting chocolate using tempering. You might want to Google that, okay? Using a marble block and getting it to a certain temperature to do this. But we don't really want tempered chocolate for this. We're quite happy with it just doing like this. My advice is, if you haven't got a saucepan or a glass bowl, the advice would be to do that in a microwave. But if you're doing it in the microwave, you need to be super careful and stood by the microwave at all times. And I would say blast it for 30 seconds, give it a stir, blast it for 30 seconds, give it a stir, blast it for 30 seconds, give it a stir, and keep going like that until it's completely melted. Do not leave it in there for a long period of time. You need to keep on stirring it, just like what I'm doing here. But only in the microwave, if you don't stir it as you're going along regularly, it will catch on fire. Okay, so you've got to be super, super careful that you don't end up with a massive fire going on in your kitchen with a microwave. Again, this is one of those activities where you're probably going to need your adults to be supervising. Right, I'm going to try not to burn my fingers now to take this off the hob and show you where we're at with this. Okay, there we go. Right, so you can see it's starting to melt nicely. I've got a rolling boil going on my bain-marie and my water underneath, which is great. My butter's starting to melt in there. So I'm just going to keep going with that. Again, be really cautious and careful you don't burn your fingers. Okay, remember that steam it's boiling water, okay? It's like sticking your hands in boiling water. Don't do it, all right? So just be really careful. If you watch, I'm trying to keep my hands away, and I know that my bowl's rolling around a little bit. Okay, but I'm going to keep stirring this chocolate because the kind of at this stage, while it's melting down, the more I stir it, the quicker it'll do. Okay, we're getting there. I'm going to keep that on a rolling boil on quite a high temperature because I want to melt it quick. Right, I don't want to be here all week. But just be careful that you don't get too much of the steam coming out or even the rolling boil coming over the top. So, because it will get to that stage, so just be careful. If you get to that point where you can see the bubbles starting to form above the edge or the rim of the saucepan, just turn it down to a medium heat. Oh, it looks so nice. Glossy, melted, molten chocolate. Again, please don't be tempted to stick your fingers in, okay, because you'll burn yourself. Right, I'm going to show you again in a second as a waggle. Once that's completely melted down, my butter's melted down. Once we're there, I'll show you again. Okay, nearly there now, not long now. Right, not long now, nearly there. Just got a couple of lumps. This is why I said to you, break down your chocolate into the smallest possible pieces because then it's going to be quicker on the melting. Keep stirring, you don't want it to burn at this point on the bottom. Watch your fingers through the whole time of doing this. Try and bring it back down from the edges, try and stir it in. Don't want to waste chocolate, do we? No. Okay, and I am nearly there now. Okay, nearly there. And while you've got just one or two little lumps, what you can do is you can take that off the heat because the residual heat then will just continue melting that down. Okay, just stir that nicely in, it will melt. Whew. Can I recommend you don't wear a jumper whilst doing this as well? It's a bit warm. Right, okay, so I'm going to show you now without burning my fingers. Okay, oh, I might need to, hold on. Okay, there we go, molten chocolate. When it looks like that, guys, okay, bring it over. Notice I'm using a tea towel. You could use oven gloves, okay. I don't know what you're going to see there. Hold on, one sec. Right, okay, so there we go. Right, so what I'm going to do now then, I'm going to hold it with my tea towel so that I don't burn myself. Mega careful. Pour all that molten chocolate over the top. Okay, get it all in there. Okay. There we go, last little bit. Right, and now all I'm going to do, okay, is just use it, breaking the place. I'm going to use the back of my spoon now to push that into my corners. Okay, and if you're doing the feathering, this is where you would literally get the white chocolate like that over the top, and then using the end of a knife, feather it through. Okay, but again, I'll stick some links to some various YouTube channels on there on how to do the feathering. I'm not going to do it now. Right, I'm just going to pull my paper to the edge, so then I can get right up to those edges in there with my spoon. Okay. Right, and then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to stop the video there. Right, now I've got a mammoth amount of washing up to do. There you go, Millionaire shortbread. I'm going to pop that in the fridge now. Okay, it's probably going to take an hour or so to cool right down and get that chocolate melted, if not a bit longer. If you're leaving it out on the side and not in the fridge, it's going to take quite a few hours to do. That's why I'm going to put mine in the fridge. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoy your Millionaire shortbread. I'd love to see a bit of feedback from you on Teams, okay? Post some pictures, tell me how you get on, tell me what it tastes like, etc., etc., okay? And just remember the health and safety that we've gone through today, all right, kids? Right, I'll see you later then, guys. Bye-bye.